Hello and welcome to League Football Weekly. In this video, I will be analyzing the Game Week 3 match between Manchester City and Leicester City. Leicester visited Man City in the third game week of English Premier League. The match ended 5-2 to Leicester. For Leicester City, Jamie Vardy scored the hat-trick, which included two penalties. Madison scoring a wonderful goal from outside the box and Tielemans scoring a penalty in the ending moments of the match. And for Manchester City, Mahrez and Ake scored the goals. Now let's take a look at the formations used by both the teams. Pep Guardiola used a classic 4-2-3-1 formation for Manchester City. And as for Leicester City, Brendan Rodgers went with a defensive 5-4-1 formation. City's attacking tactics were pretty simple. They tried to play the ball to the wide players who would then cross the ball into the D, hoping for someone to get a touch and get it into the goal. City managed to get 27 crosses inside the Leicester City D box, but only managed to find City players 20% of the times. Let's see how City defended when they lost the ball to Leicester. Now, let's take a look at the illustration. When Fernandinho passes the ball to Mendy, Castagna quickly intercepts the ball and passes it to Pratt. As soon as Pratt receives the ball, he realizes that he is now surrounded by 4 City players. Realizing he has now enough cover, Rodri starts to press Pratt, which makes him lob the ball up the field towards Vardy, but Garcia quickly retrieves the ball and passes it to Ake. Although this happened quite a few times in the match, Vardy did manage to receive the ball sometimes and make a run into City's half, but was quickly closed down by Walker and Garcia. I will be using the first goal as an illustration to explain the Leicester City attacking tactics. As we can see, Leicester have a 3-man defense while attacking, as Castagna is far on the right and Justin is high up on the left flank. As soon as Mendy passes the ball to Soyuncu, De Bruyne starts pressing him. As De Bruyne gets too close for comfort, Soyuncu passes the ball to Evans. While pressing, City basically form a hexagon in which Tielemans and Mendy are roaming around as passing options for Evans. Evans finds space and passes the ball to Mendy, who makes a quick turn and beats Fernandinho and Mahrez and quickly progresses to Manchester City's half. Mendy then passes the ball to Barnes, and Barnes, on receiving the ball, starts to cut inside the field, allowing Justin to make an overlapping run on the left-hand side. As the play progresses, we see that Vardy gets into a good position behind Walker and Garcia, and since Walker is distracted by Justin's left-hand run, he is not aware that Vardy is right behind him. As Barnes passes the ball to Vardy, Walker turns around and realizes that he will not be able to catch Vardy with his pace and decides to physically bring him down, which results in a penalty. Now let's take a look at how Leicester City defended. Leicester did not have a possession-dominant game as they only managed 21% of the possession throughout the game. Despite having less of the ball, Leicester City defended brilliantly against Man City's wide wing-backs and attackers. Leicester maintained their 5-4-1 while in defense throughout the game. When City had the ball, Fernandinho dropped deep to make a 3-man defense which allowed Walker and Mendy to go wide on their respective wings. De Bruyne, Foden, Sterling and Mahrez constantly roamed around in between the midfield and defense line of Leicester City as Walker and Mendy occupied the wing space. The 4 midfielders of Leicester City adjusted according to the side on which the ball was. As we see in the illustration, Barnes, Mendy and Tielemans are quite close to each other, but when we look at Pratt, he is further right of Tielemans. Pratt's position allowed him to press Mendy along with Castagna when Fernandinho or someone else from the other wing tried to switch the ball to him. When Fernandinho moves inside the Leicester half, Mendy quickly presses him to close out any space available to him to either switch the ball to the wing or play a lofted ball inside the Leicester D. And since Vardy is marking Rodri, Fernandinho has no choice other than going back to his centre-backs. For the next segment, we move on to the key players of the match. For our first key player, we have Justin James. The left wing-back of Leicester City had the highest number of tackles and blocks in the game, and also managed to clear the ball 4 times. The next key player on our list is Riyad Mahrez. Mahrez managed to score an early goal in the 4th minute after Leicester failed to clear the ball from a corner, which Mahrez bolted into the top left corner of the goal. Apart from that, he also assisted Nathan Ake's 84th minute goal from a corner, and he also managed to get a handful number of crosses into the D of Leicester City. Jamie Vardy is our next key player. He scored a hat-trick in the match and his second against Man City, which included 2 penalties that he won himself. Apart from that, he won 4 aerial duels, only second to Amate's 5. Also, he was the only player with 100% shot accuracy as he took 3 shots and all the 3 of them were in target. We move on to our next key player, which is Amate. He had the highest number of clearances in the match and also won the highest number of aerial duels. He, at moments, disrupted the Man City counter-attack for which he was booked once. With this, we come to an end of the analysis of the match between Leicester City and Manchester City. One of the changing points of the game was Fernandinho being subbed off for a young Liam Delap, which resulted in a total downfall of City's defense. If you liked my analysis of the match, please make sure to like the video and share it as much as possible. And if you're not a subscriber, please subscribe to the channel.